Ready for this?
We'll start with the first game.
Okay.
The Guardians and Defenders. All right. And there's a lot to talk about because last week we talked a lot about the Guardians defense. And we said, oh, man, I mean, the way they played, again, we mentioned that they played the Vipers, so, that was struggling offense. But they looked phenomenal. And then this week they just got torn apart.
Yeah,
completely.
I think they're playing one of the top 2 teams. If not, I put them on my poll as my favorite team. They're in the number one spot, my power rankings. I do have the Defenders above the Roughnecks. A lot of people have the Roughnecks above the Defenders, but I just think the Defenders are playing complete football. And their defense is rolling too. And a couple plays on their kickoff too. Like there were some openings, and then you just see that kickoff surge. And when you've got linebackers and people running down there and making those plays on kickoff, and those explosive plays and setting your team up for a good spot, that just shows to me the depth you have on your team and the overall level of skill and talent.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I would also like to add defense for the Defenders. It just seems like the way we talked about the Guardians' defense last week is the way we should talk about the Defenders' defense this week because they were dominant. Even
anytime you put up anytime there's a goose egg at the end of the game, that is with the way the rules are set up. Like we say over and over again, it is crazy that they were able to do that.
The first shutout in XFL history, so we can put that in the record books. But along with that, they forced 3 turnovers, 2 of them interceptions from McGloin and a fumble at some point in the game. And then I don't know, just using the eye test, so, when you look at stats, I think they only had 3 sacks or something like that. So, you think, okay, that's about a normal game. But in terms of using the eye test, I mean, they got to the quarterback with such ease to me. And that's why I feel like McGloin was so frustrated is because he just didn't really get a lot of time to throw the football.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just uncomfortable all game, and the Defenders just did a really good job getting to him. So I was definitely impressed by that.
For sure.
And then, so we talked about McGloin a little bit. We don't really have to go much further into it. He just had a bad game. Maybe he'll come back next week and prove that he can be a leader.
No, I'm thinking they got to go for, of course, there was that trade in the beginning of the season from L.A. to New York with the whole Luis Perez trade.
Yeah.
Luis Perez, of course, really cool story coming out of.
We can talk about it. Go ahead.
He's coming out of Division II football. Won the national championship for Texas A&M Commerce. Ended up winning the Heartland Award Trophy, which is the D2 Heisman Award.
Yeah.
And so he's really a fun player. He's got a crazy story of him in high school. Actually, was a professional bowler. Was
the best bowler in the country.
Played some crazy I don't even know the number. I'm might be making this up off the top of my head, but it's somewhere around 9 perfect games or maybe. Around that number.
Yeah.
In that area, all said he's a good bowler.
Think about a perfect game. When you bowl a perfect game, you bowl 11 straight strikes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's bananas. And he did it 9 times.
Yeah, somewhere around that number.
Wow.
And so he's an amazing athlete, of course, for just doing that originally. And then he's like, okay, senior of high school, let's go out for the football team. He didn't even play quarterback his senior year. He goes and plays wide receiver. Of course, he's not getting any looks because he's playing. He's one of those guys on the team's I'm just gonna play wide receiver. Let's see what happens. Okay, then he decides to go to a junior college. Ends up being 9th on the depth chart of quarterbacks, and that's
bananas.
Crazy stat.
Imagine 9 quarterbacks on a roster. That's a nightmare.
So he's 9 of 9. He works his way up to the starting quarterback, and then he gets an offer from. Plays well enough, gets an offer from Texas A&M Commerce, which is a Division II powerhouse, really.
Yeah.
And then he ends up taking this team to a national championship, wins the Heartland Award Trophy, like I said before, and gets his shot with the Rams practice squad, and the whole camp and everything. Ends up getting released, then was playing last year for the Alabama team of the AAF. Forgot the name.
Yeah.
But he's a good player.
Yeah.
And I was excited for him to be in L.A., but I think that trade that happened, and I say give him a shot. Luis Perez, man, that he's got some magic in him somewhere, and
he did not get a snap in the game though.
No,
they called on Williams, who obviously I didn't even know who that was, but
apparently he's a former Packer. Is that right?
I've never.
You never heard of him, so that's how
he might have been on the practice roster. I didn't look, but
yeah,
man. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see it, but I think that's interesting.
Happens.
So maybe Perez. Get a start. I don't know.
That could be a good game.
Yeah.
Or a good
at
good
this
move.
point, I mean, might as well. You know what I'm saying? Unless if McGloin can come back and have a good start. In week 3. So, wait, no. I wanted to talk about Cardell Jones for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because, we talked about it again, but I just kind of want to put some emphasis on Coach Hamilton.
Oh, okay. The offensive play calling was just there's some chemistry there that's going to be special going on.
It's been phenomenal since the start of this league. It's been exceptional. The triple fake last week was an awesome play, and then this week we saw the first double forward pass, which is not a thing in the NFL. So that was interesting to see, and it worked to perfection, just like the triple fake did.
Yeah,
and I think that says a lot about that team and the way they're coached.
The way that I watch them, and I go, they are having fun.
Oh,
it just looks like they're like Pep Hamilton, Cardinal Jones, that offense, they're having fun.
Yeah.
And when I was at that Wildcats Renegades game, it didn't seem like everybody was like scared.
A little bit of tension.
Like they were just like, we gotta win. Like we got
because they're both 0-1.
0-1. You're coming, and there's some. Of course, they fire Pepper Johnson. The Wildcats do. Who are we? We should be, and then the Renegades. We should be the top team in the league. Everybody thought. So it just feels like when you just play loose and play fun and have just a blast and do the triple reverse, do the double forward pass, and have some fun playing the game of football, like we all love it. And I think that's just where it's got to come from.
For sure, I totally agree with you, and especially in this league too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like just the start of this league, and you're right. I feel like the teams that have had the most fun out there are executing perfectly. But when there's tension, we talk about with the Guardians. There was just tension and it didn't work.
No.
So I think obviously chemistry has a lot to do with it. Before we move on to the next game, I just want to talk about the receiving crew of the defenders because they were exceptional.
They are.
Rashad Ross, pardon me, was a former Redskin, and he was phenomenal last Saturday. And then DeAndre Tompkins. I mean, I would have confused him with DeAndre Hopkins because he was that good.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. But then obviously Eli Rogers, he was a former NFL receiver as well, and he was a tough day for him because during that week his mother passed away. It was actually his mother's funeral.
Crazy story come out of that.
Yeah, it was his mother's funeral that day, and he decided to be with the team and play.
Yeah.
So
heard he wrote a letter, but he knew his mom would want him to play in the game, and it's really cool story.
I mean, it shows the dedication. You would expect that in the NFL, but in the XFL, you would say, oh, he probably just missed the game because it's, but no, it shows dedication to his team, which
shows
is
how
awesome.
much, even just it's the game of football, and it's big in his family, and his mom would have wanted him to do as what he said, and I think that's a really cool story.
100%. So, prayers up to, Eli Rogers and his family at this time. So.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, dude, the defenders are solid. I think you have every right to put them at number 1 in your power rankings because they're just firing on all cylinders right now, 100%.
Week 7, look for that. Week 7 is when the Roughnecks play the defenders.
Yeah.
Week 7.
Not before?
No, week 7 they play.
All right. I'll be watching. So we'll see where that goes.
We're watching every week, but I'm excited. Exactly. I am excited for that matchup.
Exactly. All right, next game. Into it.
So we got the Seattle Dragons, and it was a little bit of a rainy one there. It looked a little cold. February football,
Seattle,
a little bit of rain, a little bit of cold. But the Tampa Bay came in, and it was kind of one of those. Started off the bat, not a lot of offense going on, but man, defense.
It was all defense.
They came in hot. There was like 2 pick sixes. I talked about earlier, but Frazier's DN. He's a DN for them. That interception was awesome. Unreal.
Awesome.
That's in like.
I mean, he was only a few feet away.
Only a few feet away. But anytime you go up for that ball and just thinking bat it down, but then have the hands to be able to catch it.
Yeah.
Like that is a hard play because he's firing out of his hand, and that's a tough play to make, and you got to have really soft hands to be able to make that. And for a DN to come down with that and the ball skills, him running the end zone, scoring that touchdown, that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. For me, I think, just right off the bat, what I saw on Twitter was that the official attendance was near 38,000.
Dude, they had
amazing.
They were,
especially for CenturyLink. I mean, Seattle's always been a great sports, city. But I mean, to see that there was 30,000 people at that game was pretty cool.
That was amazing.
Sounded loud. It sounded like a great environment to be in, and maybe they have the best home field advantage.
I mean, they were sounding like that 12th man out there. Man. It was getting loud on the audio there. Watching it.
Yeah. Too bad the offenses just weren't good, and we talked about it. Defense was great. I don't know, man. The Vipers.
I think they should have stuck with Flowers, but Flowers didn't play that good either. But I think the whole. Mark Trestman's got to figure this out. He can't play this whole back and forth thing. He's going, okay, let's go with Cornelius. Okay, let's go with Flowers. okay, Flowers is doing good. Let's throw Cornelius back in. Okay, Cornelius is doing good. All of a sudden, Flowers comes. Like, we got to find our guy and stick with him, because that 100%. is as a player, that is so hard when coaches are going back and forth between people. It's like, hey, let's finalize this. Let me have some confidence in who I am playing. And once you get that, especially you watch on the sideline of the Seattle's coach talking to his player, Brandon Silvers, giving him real positive feedback and encouragement and that type of coaching style. And I think a lot of times when you breathe into your players like that and say, like, hey, I think you're doing a great job. Let's correct this, but like let's keep it moving. I trust you, man. And when you get that kind of positive enforcement, you end up playing better, I think, as a player. And this whole flip-floppy thing is tough.
It's tough. And I was watching this game with my dad, and he was just like, this guy Cornelius, he just doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, confused. You talk about quarterbacks that were confused last week. I don't think anyone compares to Cornelius. That's what I call him.
Cornelius.
Just with that.
You got to do a little British
Cornelius. I mean, dude, if this guy gets another start, I'm going to be baffled beyond belief.
They got to go with Flowers.
I think so, too.
Just give him a chance. Give him a game to go. I know he had – it was like –
yeah, he wasn't
one interception, and that's it he had. It was like 14 yards passing, but he was only in for a couple plays, but – they got to take him out of the gadget type thing and just make him the guy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, and let's just call it how it is for the Vipers. They did score a touchdown in this game. It was a pick six.
Yep.
But the offense in two games hasn't scored a touchdown once. I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, too, is it's just like bad luck. Because they were in field goal range and missed field goal, and then they'd get close to the end zone and it'd be a turnover. It's just like something isn't right there. And what sucks is that realistically they have a lot of talent, especially on defense, man. Yeah. We talked about it. There's a lot of guys that had great games. When I look at and they have it all across the board. When you talk about the line, I wrote down a few names like Mountain Whitlock, and then for the secondary they have Branch and Kelly. So I mean, there's some good names on that team. Mm-hmm. Just the offense. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I think
it's a nightmare.
It's gonna be tough for them to come back, and they have their first home game, but it's still gonna be tough. I think they're playing the Defenders. Or no, they're playing the Defenders. LA's playing Defenders.
Okay.
So it's just another tough one for them.
That's good.
Hopefully they don't go.
Or Wildcats.
Man,
struggle down the line, but
I'm trying to that'd be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, any more words on that game? Or are you ready to move on?
Yeah, I just think the Dragons they definitely fed off the crowd, especially on defense.
Oh yeah.
And I think right now I don't blame them for sticking with Silvers.
No, I think Silvers is the guy for now.
Yeah, I think he works with that team. It's just a defensive group of guys, and a little disappointed that Austin Prowell didn't do anything because that was my guy last week. But it is what it is, But overall, I think that was the last quarter was very exciting, but that's just because both offenses were so bad. Yeah. So it was a close game, and it relied on just the very end. So, but it was fine. Whatever. Yeah. I don't think either team. I don't know. I might be willing to say that they're the two worst teams in the league. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyways, let's move on.
All right. So let's go to the game I went to.
Yeah, let's go.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience as a fan there.
Please do.
Just being there live at how was the XFL live event. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was pretty fun. I had a good time. It was a beautiful sunny day here in LA. Yeah. And I actually got a little bit of a sunburn. I was like, what, in February? But
dude, that's LA for you. That's LA.
I wasn't expecting it though.
Yeah.
It was beautiful though, and it was just felt like one of the, you're walking out with the fans. There's about 15,000 there, which is a really good showing, I think, for LA area, especially a new team. And
the stadium doesn't hold that many more people, so.
No, yeah. So it was pretty full actually. Yeah. It wasn't. There was some scatteredness going on, but definitely big time. But I'm walking into the game. It's so sunny, shining. You're feeling great. You're like, oh, this is a great day for football right now. Yeah. Like this is perfect football weather. Little breeze going on. Walking in, and there was tons of fans. Well, I felt like my dad said, because he went to a Charger game. He's like, I feel like I'm at a Charger game right now because it's.
Was there tailgating and stuff?
Yeah, there was tailgatings. Everything was going on, and you could smell the hot dogs and everything. And we're walking around the stadium, everybody's getting snacks. We're trying to find our seats, and it's packed. I was like, whoa, like this is big time. This is awesome, Yeah. And so we went and found our seats. We were sitting in the north side of the stadium there, and it was pretty funny. It's like that kind of standing room area, but also the little things fold down to where it's like a little bit of a seat.
Okay.
But it's a cool little area, and one of the guys called it the litter box. This is the fans for the LA Wildcats. This is the litter box fan zone. So a little fan lingo
That's
there.
clever.
The litter box. We're having a good time. But and then they had this chant going where every time they go defense, they go defense, meow meow.
Wow.
I laughed so hard.
The Wildcats or the House Cats?
I don't know.
What the heck, dude?
We were looking for some play though.
Yeah.
Everybody's like but everybody was goofing around, having a good time, and it was pretty. I had a pretty good time as a fan, and just seeing everybody be crazy.
Did you go through like the team store? Did they have like a whole team store?
They had like just like easy ups with all their gear underneath.
Okay.
They didn't have like the actual
big store.
I don't know. I think that's on the other side of the stadium, but it was definitely. I saw a bunch of stuff that they were selling, but it was cool.
Well, I was gonna say, like, in terms of the fans that you saw, were they repping their merch pretty well? Or
yeah, I feel like a ton of people had Wildcats gear.
Okay, dope.
So that was cool to see. A lot of people had NFL jerseys on too. I noticed, I'm sure. But I had a good time. It was fun. They gave out these little black terrible towels. I should probably went in, but we were spinning them around, like trying to get the whole thing going. But it was pretty fun. And but for the play. It was
that first half.
The first half,
fun.
We were all sitting there like, we're all excited. Everybody's so stoked to be there, at the game. And then it was like, when's the game gonna start?
Yeah.
Like it was. The first half was tough, but definitely that fourth quarter got pretty entertaining with that long pass to Spruce, and then a couple touchdowns by Artis Payne, and it wasn't all bad for the Wildcats. They of course completed the very first 3-point try.
That was awesome.
I witnessed it live.
That's
the very
great.
first XFL.
That's history, baby.
Very first XFL 3-point try for good. As they completed that, and I'm like, oh, they just completed 3-point try. We're down by 1 point. Let's go. It was good.
Exciting.
And I thought we were gonna come back to it, but then
Artis Payne.
our defense couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop the run game.
The place.
So it was tough to see that. But
in the first half. I'm sure there was moments of excitement for you guys because there's a lot of turnovers.
There was, there was a couple of big,
Landry Jones in that first drive, he threw an interception.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, the crowd was
to Hollywood right there, they call him, and then also Will Smith got a middle linebacker got that. IE guy out of.
I don't know what Landry was thinking on that throw.
There was a couple. I was like, that's why I didn't have him as my top tier guy because those two picks were a little bit like, whoa.
And not to mention when he ran outside of the pocket and ran out of bounds, he looked awful. He looked like Tom Brady.
My dad was like, what?
Yeah, it looked crazy.
We were like, ooh.
And honestly, maybe it was just the padding on him, but he looked kind of out of shape. He looked kind of big.
Yeah, I don't know.
But whatever. I'm not going to hate. 300 yards. Whatever.
300 yards passing. Pretty good.
But yeah, just turnovers in the first half was the story. That's all the story was.
Yeah.
It was turnover, and the Wildcats would turn the ball over right before they were
You got to give credit. You got to give credit to that defense,
yeah,
Renegades. Just being able to force those turnovers, and man, they should have scored at least 30 points. I think the Wildcats.
Yeah,
it was fun.
When I was watching the first half, I was just like, this might be one of the worst football games I've ever seen. Like the turnovers were horrible.
Yeah,
and it continued in like the beginning of the third.
Yeah,
it was just turnover after turnover.
I hope what I was saying, my analysis after the game is, I think there wasn't a ton of practicing going on in the off season. Everybody kind of got drafted. They get thrown in this new situation. I think as the season goes on, we're gonna start seeing these players play better and better football.
Yeah, I could see it for sure.
So because there's some big names out there like Lance Dunbar, Artis Payne, like these are big guys, big names that are that should be totally dominating out there. And Landry Jones, like former Steelers quarterback, like this should be good.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we can talk about that first touchdown because it was a pretty good throw from Johnson. It was just like a thread the needle. He's found a way to get it to Spruce.
Spruce.
That man's a monster, dude. So
he is Mr. LA Wildcat right there, and he's the guy. Yeah. So what was the quote though that you thought was funny?
Okay, well that was later. So that was the first throw, was like a slant route, and then he got a deep go route, and he caught him with the touchdown, deep touchdown, and like. It was funny. I guess the player that was defending him on the Renegades was like trying to talk smack already when he already caught the ball, and he was like, "Dude, I already caught it." And the interview person was right in front of him, trying to get like an immediate reaction after the score, and she was like, Spruce, what did you see on the play?" And he just said, open touchdown," and he walked away. He said open touchdown.
Open touchdown. It just drops the ball
He
there.
gave no insight, and it was awesome because I was like, yeah, leave him alone. He just scored. Give him a few minutes. You know what I mean?
The quick interview, you got to be real quick on your
gosh,
answer. I
yeah.
feel like that's the last thing you would think of your score. You're like, yes.
Yeah.
And then microphone's in your face. You're like, what do I say? You're just like, oh, touchdown, man.
I love how she said, what did you see on the play? And he didn't even say what he saw on the play.
Like,
he was just open, touchdown.
You could have been like, ball, score, touchdown.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. He literally gave no insight, and it was awesome, and I was happy for him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, for the Renegades, it was all the running game. Cameron Artis-Payne almost got to 100 yards. Did we see someone get 100 yards last week for rushing?
Close.
Pretty close, right?
The guy for the St. Louis Battlehawks, he had about 85. I think it was Jones, or what's his name?
Let's see. Hold on.
I believe it's
Jones.
Jones, yeah.
And so it was good. It was cool to see him. There was that one play where he scored where he basically just ran like horizontal, and then all of a sudden the block started coming in. He found the end zone. So he had a great game, 99 yards, and then once Landry Jones got hot, which he eventually did,
yeah,
he finally started getting some passes. I think he just really ran into a tired Wildcats defense, and he took advantage of that completely. So
yeah, they were on the field for a lot.
Yeah, no doubt
Offense
about
couldn't
it.
get going really, so. It's just tough. You got to finish.
Yeah, the
football.
And
Gotta finish.
I mean, the times they were in the red zone, they just messed it up. You're not going to win football games if you turn the ball over 5 yards away from the end zone. So that's something they definitely got to work on.
Yeah.
Now they're 0-2, and
they're going to play. Then at home, they're playing the Defenders
Yeah,
this
it's
next
tough,
week. It's going to be tough.
And then for the Renegades, I mean, the Renegades. I don't know. Again, they didn't play a great game either, and I think it was a little disappointing for Dallas fans in the sense that. This was supposed to be the best team in the league.
Yeah, you kind of expected Landry Jones back.
Yeah.
Expected him just to start lighting up that field, and he didn't really.
Didn't happen at all.
300 yards, which give him credit for that, but it just didn't look as pretty as it should have been.
Yeah, I guess not, man. But we'll see what happens.
You ready for the next game?
Yeah, man. That's all I got.
Yeah. All right, next game.
Well, actually, real quick, I'd just like to say, I mean, in terms of what they did last week, the two teams, the Wildcats and the Renegades, it was an improvement.
There was.
I don't know.
Like I said, there's some highlights.
Yeah,
like
no doubt.
Like Spruce definitely.
Awesome.
Jones played a little better, or Johnson played a little better, I think, and I think also.
You think they're gonna stick with Johnson behind center?
I think so. You got to find some type of continuity.
Yeah.
And you can't be switching it up all the time.
Sure.
We got to find our rhythm. We got to find our chemistry.
And he fits the mold of the quarterback that we were looking for. Just
I think so. Like
quarterback.
That's really the move, I think, for the XFL.
For sure.
These dual threat type guys.
No question. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to say.
Cool.
Either way, we'll see what happens. These were like, remember, I remember we were talking about the XFL. Even before this podcast started, we were like, if there's two teams that we think are going to be solid, it was going to be the Wildcats and Renegades. And now we're sitting here like, I don't even know if they're even top four, either of them.
No.
At this point, so I don't know. We'll see. But the next game was the one that everyone was excited for.
That was a fun game. It was definitely cool.
And it was just because the quarterback matchup, I think. Because of what we saw last week from both these quarterbacks, we all said, I mean, they're kind of mirror images of each other in terms of P.J. Walker and Jordan Tamayu.
Yeah.
So, and they delivered. They really did, I thought. Both quarterbacks did phenomenal.
It was definitely like for Tamayu, like we said earlier, 81% completion percentage. Like that is ridiculous right there. 284 yards, 3 TDs. Of course, he did have the 2 interceptions. We said that already, but it was good out of him, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Mostly.
I think, no doubt about it. And I think what's funny is no one gave the Battlehawks any love before the season started. No. And realistically, the team isn't nearly as talented as the Roughnecks in terms of just on paper roster, but Tamayu, he's keeping them alive, and he's the reason why they might be the third best team in the XFL right now.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what they do against, like teams like Dallas and whatnot, if they can hold up and continue this momentum forward.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think Tamayu, what's crazy is if you look at what he's done, you would say, statistics-wise, he should be the best.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not. And you want to know why?
Cardell Jones.
It's because of Cardell Jones. But then, of course, the player that he was playing against on the other sideline of this game, P.J. Walker.
P.J. Walker.
It's just crazy because you want to talk about people that don't even know a lick about XFL football. They know who P.J. Walker is.
Yeah, P.J. Walker has become the guy.
Yeah.
The face
of the league
so far. Because did you see that Patrick Mahomes sidearm throw. Oh my goodness, that was so sweet.
I saw it live, and I was like, why? I saw him immediately through the sidearm, but Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen, I think they were on the call. Neither of them really talked about it until the slow mo because it looked so impressive on that slow.
That slow mo was sweet.
Yeah, it was so sweet. So, and then obviously, I again, it was like once it hit Twitter, everyone was saying, "This is Patrick Mahomes. This is the Patrick Mahomes of the XFL." And I mean, at this point now, you think to yourself, there's no way he's not going to get looked at by the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to be looked at at the end of this season.
I'm thinking, especially with the way those two guys played last year, of course, Lamar Jackson winning MVP, Patrick Mahomes winning their franchise's Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl MVP. This is the type of guy people are looking for and really is the future of quarterback now that we're starting to see. Of course, Breeze and Brady and Ben, those are the guys who are been doing it for a while. But I think this new form of quarterback is definitely way more challenging to defend against.
And, I mean, at this point, there's a lot of teams in the NFL that could absolutely use him.
Oh, yeah.
And the two teams we just talked about, the two teams that had him, they could use him right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Indianapolis Colts could 100% use P.J. Walker and have him as a starter on that roster.
Yeah, the Colts definitely.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Jacoby Brissett, I love him, but you're not ready to be a starter yet. I'm sorry, young buck. P.J. Walker is ready to be a starter.
Yeah.
And it was exciting to watch him play. And again, it was his movement in the pocket was just surreal. I mean, it's probably the only thing comparable to it is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, you talk about pocket presence. I really love the way he climbs and navigates and be able to avoid and dodge people, and very accurate on the throw.
100%.
Or on the run, too.
Yeah. And he had that one throw at the beginning of the game that was taken away because he stepped out of bounds. His receiver stepped out of bounds. But again, it was one of those just perfect lobs.
Yeah.
He just chucked it, and it was just perfectly in place.
Another team that looks like they're just having fun playing the game.
Exactly. And that's why, again, we talked about it. That's the reason why we think these XFL teams, certain teams, are doing better than others.
Yeah.
It's because there's not really any pressure on their backs. It seems like every other team has so much pressure on them to succeed for some reason.
You feel like the weight of the XFL succeeding is on some of these coaches' backs, they feel.
Yeah, probably.
And it's like, gosh, just let it go and have some stinking fun playing the best game ever.
100%. Yeah. Especially for the XFL. It's just
we're all happy just to see football in February, March, April, May, June. Not June, but in April.
Yeah.
But we're all just happy to have football right now in the spring, and fans are excited about that. We got to stop worrying about, is this going to be the next AAF or is this going to be the next?
And let's just make it clear. In terms of the foundation, it's nowhere near the AAF.
Yeah.
Because the XFL, there's so much more money put into it. There's so much more dedication put into it. The AAF just felt like, all right, we'll try it, give it a go. And it failed completely. The XFL, it's set for success. Way more than the AAF was ever.
I feel in the Wildcats organization especially that there's just this pressure and they want to win so bad, but they're just so about just trying to win this game and tense and they want to do it for the city and everything, and it's like, okay, we'll figure it out, man. Let's just have some fun playing the game. I think that's the takeaway, at least for me, from week 2.
And then we have fun watching the games because this game was just so much fun to watch. I mean, and I think in terms, Houston is just a better, more balanced football team than the St. Louis Battlehawks. So the best team won, and that's usually how it ends up being. Sometimes not, but again, I kind of want to focus on receivers because
go for it,
man. That one guy Phillips, he is awesome, and the play that he made. Where he was just in the the end of he found himself behind the coverage, and P.J. Walker just had a lob right over the defender.
Yeah,
that man was up so high in the air to make that catch, and
he just did that. He almost looked like he was going in for a triple jump type thing.
Yeah.
He threw his leg up, his knee drive into the air, and just goes up for that ball and was able to make it seemed like 5 feet in the air. It was awesome,
monstrous. And Lewis too on that team is really phenomenal. Together they combined for 113 yards. Receiving. So, I mean, I think P.J. Walker, he just has a really solid team around him, too. We're stuck on P.J. Walker because he's so much fun to watch, but the team is
that defense
phenomenal.
Is just as good, and he's got those receivers that are just great, like you said.
And, also, and we tend to forget the offensive linemen. But when you look at stats from the past 2 weeks, P.J. Walker was sacked once in the game last week against the Wildcats, and he was sacked once in this game.
Wow.
2 sacks all game. And you're going to credit P.J. Walker's ability to get out of the pocket, to move around. He's hard to tackle. But you got to give that O-line a lot of credit for what they've done.
Give the big men some love for their ability.
100%. And same on the defensive side, too. They have on opposing quarterback dropbacks, they've been able to pressure them on 41% of the dropbacks.
Wow.
Which is the most in the XFL.
It's almost 50%. Like that.
Monstrous.
That is a lot.
They're dominating up front on both sides, and it's kind of like a cliche almost that when you dominate on both sides, you're gonna win.
All three
games.
phases, like I keep saying, man. When you play complete football, you win games.
100%. So yeah, I mean the Roughnecks. They're my team. They're my team, dude. I'm excited because I want to see where PJ Walker goes. I think it's gonna be fun to watch him.
See where these
whatever happens
get going.
It's gonna be like watching your kid, like the little leagues to the high schools to college. It's gonna be exciting.
Like the sentimental attachment.
Yeah, I've been watching this since day one, PJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was a great game, and I'll again give credit to the Battlehawks. They fought till the end, and in like the third quarter, I was thinking, oh, this is kind of over. But then they started coming back, and the Battlehawks really, they kept their stride for sure. And we mentioned it again, Tamahu only had 7 incompletions in the game. I mean, that's something special there. So, yeah. So overall, the games this week were exciting. Just a little disappointing in terms of offense and a lot of
defensive-minded guys like me. Hey, that was a fun time. It was a little slop. Like you don't want to see sloppiness, but it's definitely. It was. I had a good time watching a couple of those pick six, like that Seattle Vipers game. The Seattle and the Tampa Bay. Yeah. It was so fun to watch a couple of those pick sixes. Like there was 0 offensive touchdowns, and it was like so many touchdowns already. And I was like, it's all defense. Yeah. This is great.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you play football linebacker yourself, so that's like your forte.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch a defense score.
Yeah, no doubt. And I obviously, true football fans will appreciate, a good defensive execution in any game. But in terms of keeping fans, the offenses just have to produce better, and hopefully through time they will. And I think they will. Like
I was saying earlier, I think we're gonna start seeing some more chemistry between these players and stuff like that, and it's gonna be better. And I think the play will only start to get better because these players will start to mesh and get together. And it'll be better.
But again, and it all starts with these teams finding that foundation and setting positions. Because there's too many teams right now that don't know what they're gonna do at the quarterback position.
A little merry-go-round with the quarterback.
So we gotta set this up for these teams. So that's our week 2 coverage.